So I recently made a post on Threads, and my post pretty much went, "Why is trying to make friends such a humiliation ritual?" And that post got a few responses, and some people pretty much said, you can't trust the women in Atlanta. Some people said maybe you're just not finding your people. Other people said this is how it is everywhere. And I don't know, I'm having a very hard time thinking, conceptualizing, agreeing that everyone everywhere is struggling this hard to find the community, to find good friendship groups. I'm having a hard time believing that every single person is struggling. And it just begs the questions like, what are we all doing? And part of the reason why I made that post was because I just had yet again another funny friendship experience. I connected with someone, which this is how this usually goes. I connected with someone, and there was a lot of like, when I say conversation, it was more so conversation from my end. And let me preface by saying, I don't think I'm entitled to anyone's time or effort or any of the things. I'm not entitled in that way. Like, people can choose to, not engage with me for whatever reason. But, this person kind of reached out to me first. And then I started noticing a trend in our conversation. It's mostly me just asking the questions, me making plans. As a matter of fact, the same day we connected, I made plans. I invited this person to an event and I said, hey, it's very low key, low stakes, nothing that costs money, nothing that requires a lot. I'm editing this now and realized I never actually finished the story. But long story short, this person ended up going out of town the weekend that we made plans. So the weekend that we were both supposed to go to an event together. And they never communicated it to me. I only heard back from them like 3 days after the event, which again, this whole thing was just kind of weird to me. I know I'm not entitled to anybody's time, but I also don't like my time being wasted or people who don't communicate. And I knew from then on that, me and her would not work. Past that point, this friend didn't try to, I want to say friend, I use friend very loosely. There was no real desire to connect, which confused me. It really confused me because this person reached out to connect with me. So it's just interesting. And it also had me thinking of another conversation I had with a friend that I actually made in Atlanta. And when we were talking about when we first connected and started getting to know each other, this person posted on the group. I reached out to her, shot my shot, because why not? Like, I know it's embarrassing to look like, I guess, you're desperate for friends or desperate for community. I mean, that comes to my mind, but I work very hard to clear that out because you never know who you could actually connect with. We made plans. 2 days later we hung out, and then since then it's been both of us putting in effort. And when we were discussing kind of like how we started like getting to know each other, she talked about how incredibly embarrassed she felt and to putting herself out there to try to make friends, and how it's just deeply uncomfortable and deeply embarrassing, and it almost feels like dating in a sense. And I totally related to that because I felt the same. I felt the same way reaching out to to people. I felt the same way trying to connect with people, asking the questions, doing pretty much the things that you would do with dating or when you're trying to get to know someone. But that friendship aside, there have been lots of different people I've connected with in the 2 years that I've been here, or going on 2 years that I've been here. And, the connections all kind of go the same way. You meet someone or you connect with someone in some form, everything seems like, oh, we should link up, we should do this, we should do that. And then most of the times it's me kind of taking the first step. Mind you, this person mutually was like, give me your number, give me this, give me that, let's do this, let's do that. And then I'm putting in all this effort. And I know I'm not alone in this because I've seen so many people post about this. I've seen so many people talk about this online. As a matter of fact, someone recently posted on Threads, and yes, I've been on Threads a lot lately. Someone recently posted pretty much the same exact sentiments that I had. Lots of people post about this, but they're not truly interested or like engaged or actually want to make friends, but they just kind of post about it. That just seems to be a thing. But again, I have seen a lot of this on Threads and other places where people will genuinely, people will talk about, I want friendship, I want community in my area. People in that area will find that post, connect with the person on that post, do all the things, and those people would just ignore them. I think that a lot of us, if we're truly saying that we want to build community, we have to actually try. We have to actually do things to connect. You can't keep saying you want community and do nothing about it. At the very least, I can pat myself on the back and say that, I have been putting myself out there. I can find people who I truly, not just superficially connect with. And before anybody says anything, no, the things I'm trying to do with these people, they're not, how Atlanta is. They're not things that you just have to spend a ton of money. I'm very big on doing free and cheap things. You won't find me wanting to drop, $100 for a hangout. It's just not happening unless it's like a fine dining restaurant. It also made me think about how all of us are thinking about our, I guess, desire, capacity, ability to be community members. I had a friend who was going on a trip. I said, I'm happy to drop you off and pick you back up. And they were like, why would you do that? Which is just a strange question to ask. I was like, oh, because, that's what people do for other people. And this person is a bit more of like an established friend at this point. So anyways, this video is on plan. This video is random. I literally just like came from watching Love Island, and I just sat here and I was just thinking about some things. I just don't know what's going on in the friendship landscape that all of us seem to be collectively struggling with connecting with people and struggling with just making things happen. And I know that lots of people say that the best way to build community at this point in time is really just hobbies. Like, do hobbies that you like, and then the people will, you'll meet people doing that. But it just has me thinking, like, is everyone collectively going through this? I've seen so many people talk about it. Like, are we all just genuinely struggling? Because it can't be this difficult. It really can't be this difficult to connect with people and find people that you vibe with. And I don't know if the solution is like a group chat. So many group chats have been made from people connecting online, and those don't seem to go anywhere. People get on these groups, like everyone is on fire when they see the post, and then people are posting on the group and like literally no one is responding. I also had another friend that I hung out with yesterday kind of say the same thing. She was talking about the fact that some people will join these things, and then the main person who put the group together, whoever it was who made the post, probably will post all these things and post these messages, and just no one will talk, no one will engage. And so at that point, it's like, well, what was the point of this, Anyways, that was my little rant. But yeah, I'm wondering how everyone else is finding people and finding community and people they connect with, especially if like you're a transplant or like you moved to a new city recently and you're still trying to get a feel for the city and still trying to like really get comfortable, especially if it's a place where you see yourself establishing yourself. But I just don't know where people are finding true, genuine friendships outside of people who they met in school or at work, or in those like shared spaces that we're used to meeting people in. But anyways, if anybody has had any luck in their adult life, so not talking about friendships you made in those kinds of spaces where you're forced to be around people, but if anybody has made friends in unconventional ways, please let me know in the comments. What is it looking like for you? Has it been a massive failure? Mine hasn't been a massive failure, but it's just I have so many irritating things here and there that just has me like I don't want to do this anymore. I really don't. This was an unplanned rant, so I don't know how I'm going to end this, but yeah, let me know your thoughts.